Hey there, Skullheads. I'm Snags.
And I'm Ol Silky.
And we about to bitch slap you with one more episode. But before we get into that,
This is episode 59, kids.
yeah, it's kind of like 69, but not quite as kinky.
No, it's different.
It's a different number in front.
Yeah.
So, anyways, before we do that, we just want to remind you kids to follow us on Spotify, follow us on YouTube. Tell all your friends about the podcast. If there's any episodes you listen to and you're like, oh, Billy would like this one, send it to Billy. Come on. Spread the word out there.
To hell with Billy. Listen to the Motorhead episodes. Listen to the Star Wars and Star Trek. Listen to all 58 of them.
And then send them to Billy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then the other thing we want you cats to do is check out the website, snagsandsilky.com. Links from all the episodes, playlists, movies to watch. Anytime you're bored and you're like, man, I want to listen to some music or find a book to read or watch something, go to snagsandsilky.com and browse through our links. We call it the click pit for a reason, yo. It's a pit full of clicks. Check it out.
Yeah, and if you're just doing other things, hit play and walk away. You don't even have to listen to the show. We just need the
Yeah, we just want the plays. You don't even have to like us. Tell your friends it's great, even if you don't like the podcast.
Hit play on the first episode and go to sleep.
Yeah,
and in the morning, 15 episodes have gone by.
Yeah. There you go. Steal a credit card from somebody and buy all our merch. I'm not really encouraging crime. So let's,
Yeah, we'll have none of that.
That was called satire. That's humor. Ladies and
gentlemen. So what's your last week been like? You've had some crazy stuff going on.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
You don't want to talk about any of that?
No, okay. But you have crazy shit that I think is appropriate to share with the public.
I was on my way to dropping El Condor off at school, and I had a flat tire. So I pull into one gas station, and they've got an out of order sign. Then I go to a Circle K because you get money off some of the gas.
I thought you were going to say you went to a Circle Jerk.
Oh, no. No, that's a whole different story.
That was the other part of your crazy week.
Yeah, no. So Circle K, I pull into the air area and, where you're going to fill up your tire. And I'm messing with this machine that won't take the card. It won't take any quarters. The quarters keep kicking out. And the whole time I'm hearing this knocking on the window. And I'm like, I look back at one point and it's the boy knocking. And I'm like, I'm trying to get this tire filled. And finally I open his door. I'm like, dude, what do you want? He's like, can we go? Yeah, I need to get to school. And like, he had no clue that, I'm trying to put air in the tire.
What an ungrateful little bastard.
Like, can we go? What are you doing, Dad? Like,
these kids don't know what you go through to
I'm lost at the gas station. What is this old man doing?
I think right there is reason enough to drop him off at the pound.
Yeah, I was touch and go there for a minute, but Anyway, I drop him off. I go to 2 more gas stations. So now it's 4 gas stations. Or no, 1. So 3. Then I'm speeding into the airport. I get pulled over by a police officer. And
so you weren't speeding back to your baby?
No. I was speeding
you
to
don't
work.
mean maybe? Okay, no. Just making sure.
I was trying to get to, there's a 7-Eleven right before the airport. And I was thinking, okay, I'll fill up there. And all these gas stations, there's like this thing where the kids are cutting the air. They're always breaking these air machines. I don't know what they're doing, what the purpose is.
Well, for those of you out there who are not in the know,
Somebody knows.
he lives in Florida, and that explains all that.
It must be some drug thing. I don't know. But anyway, so
It's just a Florida thing.
Yeah. This cop pulls me over, and he runs my license. And then, I'm in uniform. So he's like, you know what? Go ahead, get your air taken care of on your tire. And, well, he follows me into the gas station. He says, do you know your license is expired? And I'm like, what? And now I'm like really pissed off. And he's like, yeah, your license is expired. And so long story short, I left early that day to try and deal with the DMV. The DMV's full up till the middle of May for walk-in appointments. So I'm like, what the hell am I going to do? So I call them, not quite sure what they're going to tell me. And they point out the reason my tag is expired is I sold a vehicle last year and the tag was not turned in. So anyone who's sold a vehicle, I just want to help you out and mention, make sure you deal with the DMV directly on that whole situation, because you'll turn around and not have a license. So, and
now we know that.
Yes.
Why don't you hit these cats to the show we're about to drop on the on their noggins.
If you go back kind of around the Super Bowl, everybody's talking, Taylor, we're getting letters, people stopping Snags and I both on the streets.
Why aren't you guys talking about Taylor?
Yeah. So tonight we're getting a
real hard time for that. Like, we're not up with the times.
Yes. We have to stay current. And, I'm just going to jump right in. Obviously we're talking about Taylor Sheridan and
Sheridan.
Yes. Writer, producer.
Are there any other Taylors? I don't think there are any other Taylors.
I mean, you had that drummer from Foo Fighters that died.
Oh yeah, that guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was it.
Opie Taylor.
Yeah, something like that.
Here's to Opie Taylor.
Yeah, there you
go. So Taylor Sheridan, he acted in Sons of Anarchy as David Hale. He had a role on Walker, Texas Ranger, Star Trek Enterprise. He plays a real quick scene in NYPD Blue. That episode's called Old Yeller. It's a pretty good one. He was also in NCIS LA. But pretty, epic writer, decent actor. He's just got the touch of gold. Almost everything he's done has been
as far as just
successful.
A writer and a show creator. I mean, his stuff is just amazing, and we'll delve into it. He also did I don't know if you mentioned, he wrote and directed Wind River, and he wrote the Sicario and the sequel to Sicario, the scripts for those movies. Fantastic stuff.
Did Hell or High Water.
Yeah, that one as well.
2016, a movie called Vile from 2011. Just a crazy, at 8 years old.
Brilliant writer.
At 8 years old, his mom bought a ranch with the sole purpose that her kids would learn the peaceful feeling of freedom in nature. And bizarrely, that really stuck with him. He now co-owns a ranch out in Colorado, some massive amount of land. So there's a lot of stuff going on with old Taylor Sheridan.
Yeah, there's actually a good Joe Rogan interview with him is fantastic. We'll drop that in the click pit, even though Joe Rogan doesn't like us because we're hot on his heels with the ratings.
Joe does not return our calls, but we will.
He's afraid of us.
It's about doing the right thing.
Yeah.
So posting a link to his show is just shows how giving we are.
Yeah, it's us being, magnanimous and shit. Hey, real quick. So apparently Taylor Sheridan, the way he got into acting, he was just mowing lawns and painting houses and stuff. And he's walking through the shopping mall applying for jobs, and some talent scout sees him and says, you got a good look, and lined up some auditions for him in Chicago. Then he later moved to New York and LA, and just, it's just totally random. It's not like he was even trying. So it's weird if he had not gone to the mall that day.
Oh,
to
or
apply at Burger World.
Right.
To work with Beavis
told
and
whoever
Butthead.
Walking up to him, yeah, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
And it's funny to me, a lot of your biggest actors, even singers, had no motivation to do so and just kind of ended up there, in that role or whatever. And that's just, it's funny to me.
Yep.
The ones who really want it,
as the Rolling Stones say, it's the hand of fate.
Yeah, it's the hand of fate. But it seems like the ones who really chase it can spend their whole lives.
Well, I don't think it's that black and white. I think there's a lot of cats out there successful that have been dreaming about it their whole life, and then you got the randoms who just stumble into it.
Yeah.
And then you got a lot of people who are really talented actors and been doing it their whole life, and they work at the health food store.
Yeah.
So,
it's really tough. I mean, you got bands that seem to come out of nowhere and blow up. And people are like, damn, they didn't pay their dues at all.
Right.
I mean, you just never know,
This is true.
Have you seen any live shows up there?
What are we talking about live shows for? What do you mean?
Well, I forgot to mention the concert I saw back on the 11th.
Oh, we're back to the preamble. All right. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, we're pausing talking about Taylor Sheridan because Silky has some more preamble notes.
So Grin Cynic and Zoso played April 11th at the Ranch, and we had Grin Cynic on a while ago, and their show was really good. Same level of energy and everything, and they just really brought it. They've got a single coming out Friday the 19th called Let Me Go, which is pretty good. And the album drops May 18th. I wanted to mention, because I thought you'd find it funny, Zoso, they're a Zeppelin cover band, and they really capture that Zeppelin sound. Like there were bits where you're like, damn, they're hitting it here. This is pretty good. But what's funny is the singer is wearing like this open shirt, Robert Plant, Song Remains the Same kind of blouse thing.
Yeah.
And he's just got a bit of a belly. So it's just.
So you're saying that this was a cross between Molly Hatchet and Led Zeppelin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, really? But so that's why I
hey, in his mind, he looks like Robert Plant.
Oh, yeah. Well, he had the wail, man. He was wailing up there. I was like, good. Wow, this dude's hitting the notes.
Yeah, Meatloaf could wail too.
Yeah, just the paunch, it's just slight, but enough to where you're like, wow. Why don't we put a full shirt on, dude? What would that be like?
Just get a nice Motorhead shirt on or something.
Yeah, But anyway, I had to tell you that I thought that'd be funny for the show. And
All right. So now we're done with our commercial interruption.
Yes,
we know that.
Back
and now we're back.
into the old Taylor Sheridan.
Yeah.
I think we've mentioned his bit parts, that he was on Sons of Anarchy. Really, the elephant in the room when you're going to talk about Taylor Sheridan is the 8-show dynasty that he has either penned or produced. He's had some hand in it. And I think we'll probably spend most of the show discussing these. Where do you want to start?
Well, if we're starting with shows, I mean, you got to start with Yellowstone, I think, as far as, shows he created.
Yeah.
I first got, you kept telling me to watch Yellowstone a couple years ago. You're like, you got to watch Yellowstone. You got to watch Yellowstone. It's like when you were nagging me to watch Breaking Bad for like 5 years. And
yeah.
So I finally, Yellowstone is the one that you can't really get on a streaming service. It's on the broadcast the cable channel Paramount Network.
Yeah, Paramount Plus.
That's the only way you can see it. Unless it might be for sale on Amazon, but Prime.
Yeah, you can buy the DVDs, but I mean, why do that?
But so I had to subscribe to YouTube TV, and I had that. Well, you started nagging me about it a couple of years ago, and I had that on my YouTube TV. You can DVR infinite amounts of everything. I had that on my list, and so it was just all the seasons were just loaded up in there.
Right.
And because I tend to subscribe to YouTube TV every fall so I can watch Georgia State football. And then when that's over, I end the subscription. But it keeps accumulating my DVD shit in the meantime. It's pretty nice. So I fired it up and I binge watched all the seasons of Yellowstone. And basically, I think it's like 5 seasons so far. And
5.5. They're just so you know, November 10th of this year, they're going to have the last 6 episodes of season 5.
Oh, there you go. So, and I thought it was really, really fucking good. It definitely is one of those bingeable shows. I have to be completely honest. Towards the end, it started feeling like a little bit like a melodrama, like Dallas or Dynasty or something.
Absolutely. They've been fighting over land. And one thing Taylor Sheridan has said in interviews is drawn to like ridiculously simple plot lines.
He says that in the Joe Rogan interview. He goes, it's not much of a plot. I want your land. Don't take my land. That's the plot.
Yeah. But it also mirrors the ongoing struggle out there that has been going on since people first settled out there. Are the fences a good thing or are they a bad thing? And all the cattle and, people have died over that shit.
I think what makes it interesting are the characters. You have all these interesting characters that you see in real life around you. You've got the siblings, one of which lives up to the parents' expectation and is the right-hand man, and the other sibling who's kind of the black sheep of the family, and all these dynamics that you see in your own families and families around you. And that makes it really interesting. You've got a lot of, and then just crazy characters coming in from out of town. It's all in Bozeman, Montana. And also it's just a setting. You've seen endless and this is something I'm noticing Taylor Sheridan does with his other series as well. You see endless TV shows and movies that are set in New York and LA. It's just endless, right? Yeah, and if they think they're gonna mix it up, maybe they'll do Miami or possibly Atlanta or something.
Right. Yeah.
or Chicago, but you
Yeah.
never see fucking Bozeman, Montana. You know what I mean?
That's what I love about his shows.
Yeah, or Tulsa,
Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Rural Michigan and Mayor of Kingstown.
And even Special Ops Lioness is set over in Saudi Arabia, and then Lawmen Bass Reeves. These are just all brilliant. There's more country out there. There's more places to film.
So Lawman Bass Reeves, he's a producer, but he didn't create it. He's not a writer on it, but and I haven't seen that one yet. I've seen Yellowstone. I binged all that there was of that. I guess I'll subscribe to YouTube TV this fall to watch Georgia State and watch the last few episodes of Yellowstone.
Yeah.
And then apparently there's a show called The Last Cowboy that he's a creator of. I haven't seen that. I have to look that up.
There's Landman
coming up with Billy Bob Thornton, and Billy Bob Thornton is a righteous motherfucker. Anything he's in is going to be interesting.
Yeah, Landman is in development. Also, 4-6's Ranch is another offshoot of Yellowstone. So what I'll rattle off with Yellowstone, it's like a neo-Western, centers on the Dutton family ranch and conflicts along shared borders of the Dutton Cattle Ranch and the Broken Rock Indian Reservation. John Dutton is played by Kevin Costner. And then,
which, by the way, Kevin Costner, you and I used to make fun of his acting, kind of like Keanu Reeves.
Oh yeah.
He embodies this role to the point you forget it's fucking Kevin Costner. This is his Nucky Thompson. This is the role of his lifetime, And
Costner is such a centerpiece of this Yellowstone, and I think early on it was an absolute magnet for the show, but very quickly all the other characters became just as relevant as his character. And Cole Hauser, son of Wings Hauser, I've always kind of followed him. He's always in these bit parts, and he plays Rip Wheeler in this. And what's funny is he's just this badass cowboy dude, and all the women just swoon over this guy, which is funny because if anyone treated them like that, they would be out the door. I mean, he's a bit of a caveman, but fit perfectly opposite Beth Dutton, played by Kelly Riley, who is stunning.
Yeah.
She is.
He's basically dating the
female version of himself,
conniving, maniacal daughter of Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
And they're kind of a match. Yeah. Match. And the interesting thing about this show, and I'd say a lot of Taylor Sheridan stuff is there's not really, people aren't 100% bad or 100% good.
If you go back to Sons of Anarchy, Yellowstone really is almost like Sons of Anarchy set out in the West, because which
Taylor Sheridan acted in. Yeah, Sons of Anarchy. Yeah,
but there's a lot of similarity that I see in Yellowstone with Sons of Anarchy, because most of us watching these shows have never been a cowboy or a biker gang member.
Right.
So you watch these shows and it allows you to maybe pick a favorite character and it includes you. It draws you in, and you're like one of the gang or one of the guys on the ranch, and you're drawn in. But there's similar things. People get killed. There's betrayals and ongoing kind of Shakespearean backstabbing and whatnot. And
yeah, and there's times when you're like, oh man, I'm so happy that motherfucker just got hung from a tree. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot of you get emotionally invested in it for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he makes the bad guys really bad, and you do want
but you understand where they're coming from at the same time. It's like this.
Yeah.
They're not one-dimensional bad guys or one-dimensional good guys.
Yeah, and I do like too that he doesn't. Taylor Sheridan does not really get into the cliche exposition. Like, you have to watch the show, and you get little bits. You get just enough
to keep you interested. Yeah,
you get what you need to know. You know,
it's really good writing. Really good writing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to see his writing process. Just what.
Well,
how much of it he has figured out.
He has talked about how he'll be, because he's got so many shows going, how he'll be working on one show, directing episodes, and then he's got Sunday off, and he has to spend Sunday writing Yellowstone episodes. That there's a whole production crew and other directors working on those,
and all these people waiting for his approval. And
he's literally cranking out the scripts for one show on his day off from directing a show that's already scripted, and it's just crazy. So he's a workaholic for sure. He's again one of those Elon Musk, Gene Simmons, Maynard.
Works 7 days a week.
Yeah.
So 1883 was a limited series on the Dutton's family traveling to find what would become the Yellowstone Ranch, narrated by the daughter, played by Isabel May, who is
fucking beautiful,
absolutely stunning, filthy, as I say sometimes.
To the point where it just kind of hurts a little bit,
filthy,
just looking at her. God damn.
Just the blonde hair, the rosy cheeks, just ridiculous.
And the personality on the inside.
Yeah. And a extremely talented actress, a real badass when she needs to be in the show. And 1883, Sam Elliott, one of his better roles, really takes you through what those settlers, going across the country, and just how the slightest thing would kill you. They have a montage in one of the 1883 episodes, or maybe in several, but where people are just idiots out in the wilderness, and they don't understand what a rattlesnake bite does.
So basically, this girl's father is a Civil War veteran who basically trying to find a good place for his family to settle, and he's a skilled gunman and frontiersman and all the rest of it. He's got all the skills down, and he ends up hooking up with this crowd of people who are there's Sam Elliott, who you got to have Sam Elliott in a Western.
Absolutely.
Right? And just straight out of the Big Lebowski. You expect him to start talking about the dude any minute.
And just a hardcore badass.
And so him and this other guy are taking this group of German immigrants across the country to Portland. Supposedly they're trying to get to Portland, where there's free land claims. You can go and just stake out a claim, and the government's trying to get basically, crude way to put it, get white people in there to push the Indians out. Right. That's what all the free land claims were about. Was
exactly,
get settlers out there and settling.
But a lot of these people had no experience whatsoever
didn't know their ass from a hole.
Riding a horse, how to cook on the open range.
There's a scene where a little girl's taking a shit and a rattlesnake bites her. I mean, they didn't have any common sense.
They had no idea. And just crossing a river, there's so much can happen.
And it did, and it does. And that he basically, Taylor Sheridan said that Yellowstone was kind of like his punk rock writing thing, where you got a simple plot. He did all the crazy shit he wanted to do and was just entertaining himself writing it. And then he said 1883 was him growing up a bit and saying, okay, let's, and so this girl and her father, they're the ancestors of the Duttons who end up having the ranch in Yellowstone. And it's the story of how they end up in Bozeman, Montana, right? But he said he wrote that as a way to explore himself and to show people what the settlers went through to settle the country, and just how
in case you didn't
insanely
grow up watching
hard it
Little
was.
House on the Prairie.
Right, which Little House on the Prairie, if I recall correctly, did not show the insane violence and insanity that these people had to put up with. Little House on the Prairie was the watered down version.
They watered it down. You had some tense moments on the prairie.
Laura Ingalls can kiss my ass. Well, 1883 is the way to go.
Laura was a gamer. She took 2 in the mouth and 1 in the back.
All right. So after she went to college. But anyways, so basically 1883 is, and I watched it once. I binged Yellowstone. This is a year or two ago. And then I binged 1883, and then I binged 1923, which is, we'll be talking about that in a little bit. We'll go through all the Yellowstone ones, and then we'll circle back around to the other shows.
Yeah.
And then, so recently, my wife and I I've been escorting her through Boardwalk Empire. Like, I saw it once and I was like, you got to see this. So we're on season 4 of that. I'm watching it again with her.
Oh, so you're full swing there. That's tremendous.
Yeah. And but we kind of took a break. We watched Expats, which is a good show on Amazon Prime, and then I watched Warrior, which was phenomenal on HBO on Max. You got to check out Warrior. And
it's
then
on Netflix.
Oh, is it? Okay. Yeah. And then 1880, we're looking for something else to watch because we're taking a little break from Boardwalk Empire, and I was like, you've got to check out 1923. I started her on that one because just the storyline is amazing, and she got hooked. And then so I watched that for a second time, and then we just finished watching 1883, second time for me, first time for her. And it's just, the writing is so goddamn good.
It's so real. The characters just become people you want to know. And so 1923, there's going to be a second season.
Well, let's talk about the first season first.
Yeah.
So 1923, let me just set it up and then you can run with it. I
was looking to see if there was a date yet for the second. There isn't.
Let's talk about that later, man.
Yeah.
They don't even know what 1923 is yet. So unless they've seen it, in which case they're waiting for our amazing opinions on it.
Absolutely.
So 1923 is, so the family, and I won't give it all away, but the family gets to Bozeman, or some of the family gets to Bozeman. And then there's some descendants of the family. And by the way, 1883, you got to, and I'm not a big contemporary country music fan. My idea of contemporary country music is Hank 3. And if you don't know Hank 3, fuck Hank Williams Jr. Hank 1 and Hank 3 are the badasses. And if you don't know Hank 3, you got to look them up. Completely irrelevant to what I'm about to say, though. So 1883 stars Tim McGraw and Faith Hill, real life celebrity country music couple, and they rock the acting, man. I don't know Tim McGraw's music from a goddamn.
No, and I wouldn't try to. But the acting,
is killer, dude.
They were amazing. Faith Hill was so believable. Out on the prairie.
Yeah.
And I think her sister comes along as like a New York socialite, and contrast was night and day.
Yeah, the mother is the bitchy aunt, basically. So And so 1923 is the ancestors of whoever, and I won't give it away, whoever makes it to Bozeman, right, from 1883.
Yeah.
And
It's a generation of Duttons with the backdrop of Prohibition, the drought, Great
right
Depression.
after World War One.
Post World War One.
And so Helen
Wall
Mirren.
Street crash. Because that was a few years later.
You don't know your history, dude. That was like later.
Okay, the show's called 1923. The Wall Street crash happened 6 years later.
Yeah, so exactly. Oh, you said pre? Okay. My hearing's getting bad in my old age. It's also pre. It's also pre Kissing Led Zeppelin. I mean, if we're going to talk about pre, we can mention all kinds of shit.
Since you brought that up, The Elder doesn't come out for another 60 years.
Oh, that's important. That's important to note. All right. Anyways, pre The Elder. So, anyways, we got our Kiss reference in this episode every fucking show. So, what I've been trying to get to and being constantly interrupted for the last 5 minutes is that Helen Mirren and Harrison Ford rock this show. They're both old as shit at this point, but it doesn't matter. They both do a great job as the old patriarch and matriarch of the ranch. And then you got a supporting cast of playing. They've got two sons. They've got one young, or not sons, nephew. One young nephew who's at the ranch and having a romance with a cute blonde chick that he's marrying. And then you've got this cat who is out in Africa what he does, he doesn't hunt game. He hunts predators. So if there's some out of control leopard or something terrorizing a resort, he's the guy they bring in to kill it.
He's kind of a Frederick Selous character. Frederick Selous was a gamesman that basically got dropped South Africa in the 1830s and just went through. And they always portray in a lot of the old movies, you got the old guy talking about all the game that he's hunted, and it's all based on this Frederick Selous writings. But
all right,
that character is very similar.
Yeah, and the actor's Brandon Sklenar. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, and he rocks that role. And that whole story arc, basically, he's out in Africa, and he's traumatized from the war, and he's kind of working out his PSTD or whatever the fuck you call it.
Post-traumatic stress disorder.
That's the word right there.
PTSD.
So he's oh, here comes El Condor. El Condor in the house.
Out there, remember to do your homework. I just finished mine.
Oh, a public service announcement.
Yes.
Do your homework, kids.
Do your homework. Cook
what else
do
they got to do, El Condor? They got to go to the website and do what?
Buy the merch.
Yes, buy the merch.
Very
we got
good.
T-shirts. We got hoodies.
Snags and Six.
Silky.
Silky.com. I can't actually remember the name. I think that's the
it.
name.
That's it. You did it.
Buy the buttons. Buy the stickers. Buy everything. Why not?
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
You can't ask for a better commercial than that.
Yeah. Close the door. All right then. Okay.
All righty then.
Also, you may not see an episode. We're going to our mom's graduation.
We've got it. It's all good.
Good deal.
Jesus.
So basically, he's working out his post-traumatic stress disorder by wandering across Africa, killing predators.
Yeah.
And he's got this stack of letters he's been getting from his aunt the whole time, and he's just too traumatized to even read them. And there's this great storyline where he meets this upper crust English girl, and she's got this husband she's kind of being arranged to marry, who's fiance,
which happened a lot at that time. They were always
for sure. Yeah. And she ends up falling for him, and that whole story is really fucking entertaining and hilarious at times.
Yeah.
And that they end up, I'm not going to give too much away, but they end up going on this ocean journey that just will blow your fucking mind. And so that whole part of the story arc, that's what I was like, that's the part I was telling my wife. You've got to see this fucking show. It's amazing.
What's brilliant is a couple of crusty, just skeptical assholes like Snags and Silky. This is a love story, but it's done in such a way.
But it's done with fucking packed with action, packed with humor.
Oh yeah, but
you've got a good healthy dose. You got a healthy dose of tits every now and then.
Yeah,
so,
the raw drama of the different classes, and she just throws it all in true Dutton fashion. She throws it all away, and those are the traits that are going to be Beth in Yellowstone. This actress. This character.
No, I think this actress I think she's more likable. Beth is traumatized.
No, true. But I'm talking about that Brit.
You find out why Beth, and I'm saying the Brit does not like Beth, in my opinion. The Brit is like fucking amazing personality, the ideal kind of girl you would want, adventurous.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Great sense of humor.
Her grit just tracks so well with.
I thought you were using the racial slur Brit.
No,
but no, you were saying.
No,
Brit.
I would have said limey bastards, but no, the grit.
So my ancestors are from England, his are from Ireland, and we go back and forth on that.
The battle,
green elf bastard over here.
The battle rages on. No, but there's people in the West, in the Midwest, it takes a certain strength to endure that. And to see this girl throw off the yoke of being rich and the socialite and all that, and wanting adventure, and sees this guy who just
that appeals to all us office workers out there, that just, we've got our 9-to-5 jobs. And what if you could just fucking take off and go on an adventure? Yeah. That's the essence of what TV is about, is to keep the masses pacified.
Yeah.
Your adventure at night, and then go back and work for the man tomorrow.
Yeah. Like these weekend warriors that ride their Honda
motorcycles,
and
what is that? What is that? Hell's Angels. I'd rather see my sister on a street corner than my brother on a Jap bike.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Oh, goodness gracious.
But 1923. I cannot wait for the second season, because they do leave you wondering just what's going to happen.
Meanwhile, there's all kinds of shit going on back in Bozeman.
All kinds.
There's this fucking assassin killer who finally opens a letter, and at the end we're giving away quite a bit. Anyways, at the end spoiler alert, retrograde. You should have not listened if you didn't want the spoilers. By the end, he's kind of heading back to Bozeman, and this motherfucker is a badass. And in Bozeman, there's all kinds of shit going on. The ranch is in danger. So we're all wondering what's going to happen in season 2 when the badass gets back to Bozeman and fucking smacks the hammer down.
It is the Wild West still.
Oh yeah.
The 20s. I mean, you got no forensics. You've got you had to be seen standing over the body to,
right.
So pretty much anything goes out there. So you had to have your shit on lock at all times.
Yeah. So the whole Yellowstone saga, Yellowstone, 1883, 1923, they're all worth watching. Honestly, watch them in whatever order you want. You go chronological, you start with 1883, 1923, and then Yellowstone, which is 2023, basically. I guess 2020. It was, let's see, when did 1883 come out? Yeah, well, I don't know why he's stuck with the threes.
2 or 3 seasons before.
Yeah, Yellowstone is 2018 to present, so hovering around 2023, basically.
Yeah.
And so that's that. And then I've started watching Mayor of Kingstown, which at first I was like, this is the premise of Mayor of Kingstown is Basically, there's this town in Detroit. There's a lot of prisons there. Private prison industry is something to be aware of. They got to keep it filled, to keep business going, which is a little bit of a tail wagging the dog thing. Well, hello, I guess we got to go out and arrest some people because we need to keep our prisons filled. That's a sketchy fucking thing. But and they address that a little bit in Mayor of Kingstown. But there's basically prison is the industry in this town. It's a fictional town, and you got this guy who is the mediator. He makes money as an informant for the feds, as a negotiator between the guards and the different gangs in the prison. You've got the Bloods and the Crips. Those are the two black gangs. You got the Aryan Brotherhood. That's the honky gang. And then you've got the Latino gang, which doesn't have any kind of name as far as I've discerned yet. But you got those four gangs. So he's got to mediate for those gangs, between those gangs and the prison guards and the police, because the gangs are both inside and outside of the prison. You got the incarcerated members and the ones, and what happens inside the prison affects what happens outside the prison. So there's a lot of strands in old Duder's head here. And at first, I started watching the first episode or so, and I was like, this seems a little contrived. I don't know. It's all depressing prison shit. But then, man, it sucks you right in.
Yeah, I took me 2 or 3 episodes.
But it's addictive.
I had a hard time with just what's the motivation here, and I didn't quite get.
I had to explain to Silky what this guy did for a living. Yeah. Even though they said it in like episode 2.
Yeah, but I was like, why is he doing all this? Because he's not a cop.
He gets paid. That's how he makes a living. They all pay. They hire him. Hey, I need to hire you to make things easier for my nephew who's in the joint or whatever.
So the McCluskeys act as the mediators between the gangs, prisoners, guards, and cops.
Yeah.
The show tackles themes of systemic racism, corruption, inequality, and it's a stark look at their attempt to bring order and justice to a town that has neither. Yeah. That was my little bit on that.
Yeah. Eerily similar to what's in Wikipedia, but anyways.
Diane Wiest, Hugh Dillon, Toby Bamfetta, and Emma Laird. That's the thing. The running theme in all these Taylor Sheridan shows, the level of acting. Everybody really weighs in well.
He brings in the A gamers. Jeremy Renner's character, I think a lot of people can relate to him because he's a mediator between all this shit, and it's always chaotic, and he's always kind of stressed out and tired and grizzled. And I think
he's scuffed up, beat up, black eye,
In today's fast-paced world where, you got to get up, you got to go to work. If you got kids, you got to drop the kids off. You got to, oh, by the way, now something else is wrong and you got to go to the doctor. Oh, now my car's fucked up. I got to deal with that. And then you're trying to balance all the expenses and all the time. And
then everyone else on the road is in the way.
Yeah, they're always in the fucking way. I wrote a song about that, bunch of fucking people in the way. But and then you get your little few hours on Saturday morning when you can relax, and then you got errands to run and you're back at it. So Jeremy Renner's character in this show epitomizes, I think, how a lot of people feel in modern society. Mm-hmm. Just fucking, ragged. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I think that's why a lot of people can relate to him. The mother. So there's a couple there's some brothers. We won't go into it too much, but one of the other brothers works for the police department. Their mother is a character in the show. She gives these lectures she teaches at the women's prison, and is always teaching on social justice issues. I think it's a bit of a parody. That character, she's
really of who?
I see of just the kind of. I've known a lot of people like that where they're just always right.
Oh yeah, yeah, and they feed off of that authority.
Yeah. And as I was texting you about her the other night, I was like, this woman, she savors being right like a fine wine. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like,
and even
oh,
if
I'm
she's
so
wrong,
right.
she's not going to admit to it.
Yeah, and none of these characters are always right or always wrong. That's the Taylor Sheridan thing, you know. But she savors it, you know. It's just it's like this, and she's always lecturing people constantly. And so and I've known quite a few people like that in my life. So when I saw this archetype, I was like, I know that person, and they
Right.
think they're always right, and they get on my fucking nerves because of it. Anyways, then you've got Emma Laird, who plays this Iris, who is this prostitute who works for one of the local crime lords, and ends up being involved in one way or another with the main character. And she's probably the most perfectly beautiful woman, one of the
She's
top
stunning.
3. And she's a great actress. The character is really interesting. And the name Iris, he kind of saves her, right, from this life of crime and prostitution. And the name Iris has got to be an homage to Jodie Foster's Iris, the prostitute who Travis Bickle saves in Taxi Driver. It's got to be. We were talking about that too.
Really cool.
Yeah. But it's a fascinating show. I'm in the middle of season 2, but I watched a couple episodes. Warrior was hard to top. Warrior is fucking amazing. Maybe
really
we'll do a
is.
show on Warrior at some point.
Bruce Lee. Maybe we'll mention it in a Bruce Lee episode.
There we should fucking do. Why haven't we done a Bruce Lee episode yet?
know.
God damn.
Sometime
we're putting that
June.
on this right after we get off of here. We're going to schedule the Bruce Lee, and then we'll cover Warrior.
Yeah. So Mayor of Kingstown. The last thing I want to mention on Yellowstone is Sheridan is working on a 1944, which is going to jump even further.
Not 1943?
No, it's definitely 44. Okay. It should be 43 since it's 83 and 23.
Sticking with the 3s, you would think. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
so
it's
those are
44, and that's in production, but there was no date that I found. And then the Four Sixes Ranch is an offshoot of Yellowstone as well.
All right, so the other 2 that people can watch. So he produces Lawman Bass Reeves, but he really didn't write it or direct any of it. So let's give that a kind of a light mention.
Oh yeah, well that's just a true story of the first Black U.S. Marshal west of the Mississippi River, David Oyelowo, if that's how you pronounce. It's based on the Hell on the Border. It's a trilogy. Written by Sidney Thompson, and those 3 books are supposed to be really detailed. I have the first book. I've not read it yet, but they look, just reading the back of the book and stuff, I can't wait to read it. So
here's the deal. So you've seen the other 2 that you can watch right now that are definitely Taylor Sheridan's babies are Tulsa King and Special Ops Lioness. Why don't you hip the kids to what those 2 shows are about? I haven't seen them, but you have.
So Tulsa King is what I started to say is the popularity of all the other shows possibly led to maybe Stallone wanting to do something with Taylor Sheridan, or maybe Sheridan wrote Tulsa King, and they're going to get a mafia who can we get, and they end up with Stallone that way, or Stallone went to them and said, hey, what can you write me in as? Regardless, Tulsa King is about a mafia capo who served 25 years for a crime he didn't commit, but he took the fall to keep the Don out of prison. So he gets out, and they send him to Tulsa, Oklahoma. He comes out, and he was a capo, so he's going to want his reward and all that. They want to just get him out of the way, so they ship his ass to Tulsa. well, it's it's your classic fish out of water dramedy, kind of a drama comedy. There's great quirky characters. It was reminiscent of Lilyhammer, which little Stevie Van Zandt from the Bruce Springsteen E Street Band.
Yeah.
He after The Sopranos, he does this limited show called Lilyhammer, which is hysterical. But it's the same kind of premise. Somebody from the mafia goes to a completely different place and just inevitably kind of gets right back into doing what they were supposed to get away from. And certain people are like this. You could literally put them in Tulsa, Oklahoma with nothing, and within a few weeks, they got something going. There's people that are just wheelers and dealers and can do that. You could put me in Istanbul with $5 and I would probably be found dead in the desert.
No, dude, you'd have about $500 of credit card debt and 3 new box sets.
So I'd be on my way back. I just don't think. I think certain people just could not, survive.
So again, Taylor Sheridan shows are all set in what's called flyover country, which is the rest of the country that the arrogant fuckers in New York and LA don't care about. And that's part of why the critics don't really like his shows. If you look at,
but I think that's why most of America watches them, because they're like, "Hey, I know this."
If you go to Rotten Tomatoes and you look up a Taylor Sheridan show, you will see the audience score really high, and the tomato meter, which is the critic score, really low. And to me, that's the sign. Oh, I got to watch this.
It's a good show.
The critic score is low and the audience score is high. It's a must see.
That's ridiculous,
and that's why.
Yeah.
So anyways, set in Tulsa, which was an interesting choice for a and filmed, by the way, a lot of it filmed in Atlanta.
Oh, so, well, the characters are really good. He's got some good people you've seen in other mafia movies in there, and I just really like that. I believe it's just the one season and 9 episodes, but no news on any updates. June 2nd is the new season of Mayor of Kingstown. Wanted to pass that on if you didn't know that. And then so Tulsa King. Now the one that I started to watch and then just gave up on it, and then watched maybe I watched all of Tulsa King and Mayor of Kingstown, and because those were so good, I went back and rewatched the first episode of Special Ops Lioness. The first couple episodes are not what the whole show's about. So at first you're like, oh God, I'm not in the mood to watch, Black Hawk Down, or one of these other. I was like, oh God, I've seen this, but it's actually really good. It's a female. There's not a lot of strong female roles ever. So I love
me a show or a movie with an ass kicking, a good looking ass kicking female, like the female La Femme Nikita stuff.
Yeah.
Great.
So you'll like this. Special Ops Lioness. Zoe Saldana is this Force Recon Marine, and she gets recruited into CIA's Lioness program, and then tasked with befriending the daughter of a terrorist financier. So
cool.
It's like a special ops thing where they get this girl who has a bit of a drug issue. She runs into a recruiting office trying to get away from her drug asshole boyfriend, who's basically going to kill her. And but she's a tough chick, and they put her through it. But she ends up joining this team, and they get her to go undercover and track down this really awful. Well, they get her to befriend the daughter of a really nasty terrorist guy, and it pulls you in. And like Nicole Kidman is in it, which I'm not a big fan of, but it's just a really good show. I don't think they'll do another season because it really kind of wraps up.
Well, so that'll be my next stop after Mayor of Kingston.
It may have been a one-off. This may be a one-off. I really thought they wrapped up Mayor of Kingstown, and there's going to be a third season. So
cool.
We'll see what that
brings.
Yeah. But yeah, so, that's Taylor Sheridan.
Yeah. The only Taylor worth talking about. All right.
Yeah.
So we've got more shit coming up. We won't give it away, but we got more shit planned. And whenever we say we have more shit planned, we really do have more shit planned.
Yeah, we're booked up till the end of May, which I'm really proud of that we April and May. And last week we had a bit of a hiccup. I'm going to be out of town, and we're doing something next Wednesday. We're hacking it out here.
We're trucking along. Yeah, we got nothing else to do. We're a couple of old fuckers. It's not like we're going to go out to the.
We're not going to stop.
We're not going to go down to the local punk rock club at this point.
We're not stopping till Hammersmith.
We just sit around and just fucking talk on podcasts. That's what we do now at this point.
Anyway, that's Taylor Sheridan. Get your Paramount Plus. Get ready for the summer. Oh, the last thing, really quick, because there was a huge delay with Yellowstone, and the people may be wondering, God, what happened and all that. There was
a writer's strike. I'm sure that had something to do with it. Well,
you had the writer's strike. There was creative differences between Costner and Taylor Sheridan. In the midst of all that,
creative differences between what is Costner needs to shut the fuck up and say the lines that Taylor Sheridan wrote for him.
Thank you.
Why were there? How's he possibly have a creative?
If I knew, I'd be making money.
Okay. I don't want to see Dances with Wolves was trite. I'm just gonna say it. It was fucking trite. I don't want to see something fucking Kevin Costner. Waterworld just proved my point, and I don't want to see anything that he wrote
Dances
or directed.
With Wolves at the time, they hadn't done anything like that since.
It was a fluke. Yeah.
Well, they hadn't done anything like that since
Little Big Man.
If
that dude had talent, there would have been more of those. Instead, he does Waterworld.
There had not been another movie like that. So everybody.
Kevin Costner needs to shut up and stop having creative differences with the actual creative person. And just
so you've got that. He's in the midst of a divorce with this woman. I think they were together 15 years or something. But Costner, has wanted to get this Horizon American Saga film made. And he
wants to wrap up Yellowstone and do his
and as a an artist, or at some point you're like, okay, I want to do this other thing, and I'm still here doing,
right.
I can kind of see that. But the one thing I wanted to mention here is he's divorcing with 2 kids. In the divorce, he's paying this woman $63,209 a month, right?
Right.
$63,000 a month. And all you had to do was kick out 2 Costner babies, right?
Well, that's just a time tried and proven tradition of way to make money. Yeah.
Yeah. So she goes to court during this divorce. She tries to sue Costner. Get this, $161,592 a month is what she wants.
I'm really glad she asked for that extra 2, because if it was an even you know,
90 or
yeah, that would have been poverty right there. So you got to get that extra $2.
$161,000 a month. What are you doing?
Yeah, I don't know. Certainly not trying to manage credit card debt. Like
certainly not trying to.
us.
Yeah, But anyway, so
people.
He narrowly, well, I don't know narrowly, but the judge threw that out. Thank God.
Yeah.
But
I was really worried for Kevin there.
Oh yeah.
I would have been
we'd be seeing a lot more Costner movies if that's what was going on. No, so June 28th, Horizon American Saga Part 1, and then August 16th, the sequels. So he's filmed them all together, and he's just gonna pop them out.
Good for him. They're gonna go straight to video. And did he write it? It's gonna go straight to video. So
no, these are gonna be, I think, riding off the wave of Yellowstone and just the American West.
Who wrote these fucking movies, though? If Kevin Costner wrote them,
I don't know, but he's got the money to have a good writer, to have a good, he's not going to do Waterworld again.
He's not going to do like George Lucas did and try to write shit himself.
No, I think he's going to. I think I want to see the previews for them because it sounds like it. I like Westerns, so I think I would enjoy them on the big screen. But I don't know what they're about yet. But I'm interested anyway. But I wanted to mention that. But that's it. We're basically November for the rest of Yellowstone, and then June for Mayor of Kingstown. So
all right, guys, got to stay alive till then.
Yeah,
be awesome.
Keep your cable on, kids.
All right. Peace out, motherfuckers. We'll see y'all soon. Keep it real.